This is the HTC Touch Diamond, the latest in the Touch series of handsets from Taiwanese manufacturer HTC. The Diamond, true to its name, has a faceted rear cover. Fortunately, it's glossy black, so it tends to pick up fingerprints and smudges and smears pretty easily, as you can see. The front of the device is perfectly flat. There's two panels. One is the touchscreen and the other is the controls down at the bottom here. While this looks like just a simple little button in the center, it's actually multi-purpose. There's a D-pad controller, there are buttons underneath the surface that click in, and then it also has a separate zooming function for moving in and out, which I'll show you a little bit later when we get to the software. All the other buttons you can see here are flush mounted, but they all have a click, and nothing at all on this side of the device. Just the label, it says it has 4 gig of internal storage. Two volume controls right here, power button up top, and the mini USB connector on the bottom. On the back we have the 3.2 megapixel autofocus camera. There's no flash, no mirror, no anything like that. In terms of size, it's quite small. It's a little bit taller than the original Touch was, but it's also a little bit narrower and maybe even a little bit thinner. The only complaint I have physically is, really that I don't like the gloss on the back, but HTC tells us that the Asian markets tend to think that non-glossy devices are cheap, so for a high-end device like this they decided to go with gloss. O2's version, the MDA Vario 4, has a matte surface on it, which we kind of like better. The only other complaint I would have would be that this zooming wheel, which I'll demonstrate later, doesn't work as a scroll wheel, because there are a lot of applications for that inside the device. HTC said they considered it, but in the end it just didn't work out well enough for them, so they decided not to go with it. As you can see, the design is quite simple. In terms of using the main functions, really is not much in terms of the hardware. It's just the home key here, dedicated back button, the more or less green call send button, and the what would be red call end button here. D-pad, of course, has a center select function, which pulls up things. As you can see, I just pulled up the calendar. Back button sends me back, as would the home key, or in this case also the call end key. VGA display is quite nice. Good resolution. The touchscreen has pretty good feedback, or feel on it rather. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to get it to work with either a nail or your fingertip pad itself. Demonstrate the magnetic latch on the stylus a bit. You can see the device is off now. The stylus is located down here. As soon as we pull it out, the Diamond realizes it, turns itself on. Putting it back in, on the other hand, does not turn it off, because you could still be wanting to use the device a bit. It's not a real strong magnet. Doesn't seem to want to come out, but it could, I think, kind of easily get pushed out. You can also see that the magnet works on the side here, so I guess you could temporarily put it there if you wanted to. It's a cool little feature, but one that snapped in might be a little bit more secure and reassuring. So there you have it. That's the HTC Touch Diamond. Nice little handset with VGA display, GPS built in, full touch screen, finger-based UI for the most part. A lot of really cool features on this thing. What it lacks is good support for North America. There's no 850 megahertz GSM band, and there's no US 3G at all. So with only 1900 megahertz, you're really reliant on a limited number of towers in the US for GSM connectivity. So it's probably something you're going to have to wait a little bit longer until you get an announcement for a US or North American based device. But pretty cool nonetheless.